Welcome to the GCC Testimony podcast. My name is Philip Andrew Himebook, and today I have the privilege of interviewing someone I know a little well, mainly because she married my brother. So I think we can all say her crown in heaven is like, it's a mammoth. It's impressive. She has done her duty, no question. And the mother of three wonderful kids. Well, two wonderful kids, and then there's, no, I'm kidding. No, three wonderful kids. But yeah, this is sort of a pet project for me just because I realize it's really easy, even at a church our size, to see someone a few pews over and never actually get to know them because we are all in different chapters of life. We have different things going on. We're dealing with children. And so you finish a service and you may want to stay and visit, but clearly they have other ideas.
Right, we can't.
Yeah, so I don't know. For me, this is an opportunity for the people of the church to sort of get to know each other, and not in a way that is like, okay, in 5 minutes or less, tell me the highlights of your salvation experience. And it's more of a conversation. There's different ways of looking at this. There is the moment of justification, of actually being saved. And for some people, that's very dramatic. And I have friends who like, on the day at this certain time, and that's incredible. Right. I'm glad when God gives you that. That was not my experience. I was like 11 somewhere in like a 6 months time period. So it was during Awana. Like I remember little snippets of it, but it wasn't this watershed moment. So for me, having gotten saved younger, there is an element where my testimony would be more the work of sanctification, that journey of how God's continued to refine me and grow me in my faith, and like reawaken things that I may have grown callous to because I grew up in the church. So both of those are on the table, and you're welcome to kind of pick and choose whichever feels most natural or whatever's on your heart.
Okay. Similar, actually, really similar. I grew up in a Christian home, went to church, and I can remember the story of the prodigal son and being like mad with the older brother and like completely in line with the older brother and just being like that, like, I can't believe that he would be forgiven. Like, that's terrible. I'm a rule follower. It's easy and to follow rules, and then you get rewarded for it in a lot of ways. Why did they get away
with this? I've been doing it. So,
yes. Yeah. And there was a sermon that I heard where it was saying the prodigal sons. I added the S on the end. And that was like the clincher of understanding, like, both kids are incredibly sinful.
About how old?
That was about, like, middle school. Like you said,
okay.
Like 10, 11, 12. I was baptized when I was 12, and that was, like, really when, like, I feel like the Lord put it on my heart to, like, I'm claiming it.
Yeah.
For my own faith and belief.
And then she married a Presbyterian. Sorry.
Well, I went to a Christian high school.
Okay.
Well, it was is a classical Christian school, and I had grown up at another school that was through a church, so Woodland Presbyterian, where, yes, it is connected to the church, but they don't really say, like, we are a classic Christian school and everything like that. But my high school was, and I had never been introduced to, like, the arguing of Arminianism and Protestantism and Calvinism.
Yes.
And that was another one, like, that really kind of shaped my faith. And looking back, being able to see, like, oh man, like, we're just believers going at it with the Bible, and everybody knew what church you went to and, like, who was right and who was wrong. And, you know, I have great friends. I still went to college with them, super close. But I guess I have, like, a lot of regrets for knowing that we're going at odds.
It's hard to reconcile that, especially when it is amongst believers. I tend to tell people that the litmus test for me is the thief on the cross. I think I said this in a previous episode. I think it was with Terry Cox, but because he said that's who he identifies with, is the thief on the cross. And for me, that's the litmus test, is insert any of your arguments through Jesus' response. So like he says, Jesus, remember me when you enter your kingdom. And Jesus goes, that's nice. Now, what do you think about the end times or something like,
Right,
and
right.
I'm not saying that it doesn't matter. It does. And you should know what you believe, and God's giving you a mind and he's called you to use it for his glory. And isn't it wonderful that we're able to have those discussions and help sharpen each other? But yeah, it is very hard to reconcile that, especially when it is amongst friends, and especially when we see people get ugly with it. It doesn't have to be our friends, but the knowledge that there are things that will cause people to literally withdraw friendship on behalf of doctrine. And obviously, like, there are some issues that are bigger than others. Like, we're talking about the deity of Christ or something, like that's different argument. But yeah, absolutely. Having gone to a Bible college where I was one of two Calvinists on campus, and like that's how I met a buddy of mine. He met me in the parking lot after band practice, and he was just like, "Are you Philip?" I'm like, "Yeah." He goes, "Are you the Calvinist?" I was like, am I going to get in a fight in the parking lot of school because I'm a Calvinist after band practice? I'm like, yes. He goes, me too. And I was like, great. Now there's three of us, But God knew that. Like he predestined that. So it's totally fine.
I fell into that camp of like Protestant Calvinism, all in. And I can remember a conversation with my dad. I was like, do you know about tulip? The whole like go through.
My favorite flower.
And yes, my favorite flower. And he was, I was like, do you know about election? And I was like, yes. And, grew up listening to R.C. Sproul, well, falling asleep to R.C. Sproul in the car.
Serious? Yeah, that's next level. Okay. For some of us, it was Adventures in Odyssey, but go on.
So, he didn't put pressure on us to make that the soul. I don't know to say that other than he knew all of it, but it wasn't, we're going to have this in our back pocket to have all the right answers.
There's a reason the Bible says to be able to give reason for the hope that is within you. It is easy, especially for those, when you're younger, it's like you want immediate results. And when you're younger, you can tend to get faster results because you can move faster and you can do things faster and retain information more. And you have no idea why the older generation moves so slowly and why they take their time to do things. The way that evangelism works, there was a great book by Greg Cowkle where he said that we're looking for the harvest and we pray for the harvest, but 9 times out of 10, God's calling us to be gardeners. And gardening is just planting the seeds and watering the earth and tending it, pulling up weeds. And it's really slow, but it's not about I have to defeat you in this argument so that you will come around to my way of thinking about God.
Right.
It's about being the hands and feet of Christ to them. And praying. Let's think. Do pray for opportunities. Do look for opportunities to have those discussions, but they will be more fruitful if you have that collateral of friendship that's built in. Plus, spoiler alert, her dad's awesome. So just throwing that out there.
Yes, he is. Absolutely.
Okay, so you got saved at a younger age. What would you say are one or two key moments as far as the sanctification aspect? You've mentioned, I would say, one about, again, making your faith your own, but also learning to use it as more of a pleasant fragrance than a cudgel. Accessing more of how do I use this to impress that I have a hope instead of I am right all the time.
Yeah, for sure.
What was another key moment for you aside from just meeting my wife and marrying into this awesome family? And
yes, I went to, after college, friends started getting married and knew what they wanted to do with their life, and I was still like, I have no clue. I have no idea what I want to do. And I went to St. Louis. I did their fellows program up there at Covenant.
Did not know that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So I was there for 9 months. Thought I was going to be a counselor. Can you imagine me being a counselor?
I mean, in a different life, I can see it, but it's not as far-fetched.
No, my gosh.
Now you just counsel three beings
we're gonna
full-time.
turn you right back. No. I was diagnosed with epilepsy when I was up there. And so it was a time of like, you have to come home. I couldn't drive for 6 months. And so I had to move back home. That was one of the hardest times in my life. It was not knowing, wanting more, just like for sure, this is the path that I want you to be going down. And there was a book that we read called Just Do Something. And it's really small.
I think it's Kevin DeYoung. So,
Yes. Okay. And it was very like, that is basically what it is. Just
right.
if it's not
The
sinful.
Nike, just do it.
Yeah. Like if it's not sinful and you want to, you're like, try it out, go for it. And that brought a whole lot of peace. I was like afraid I was going to get the wrong job or.
Isn't it funny how those of us who subscribe to the sovereignty of God can get so wound up in not wanting to get something wrong as if we can mess it up? We're just
Exactly,
like, God's sovereign. I don't want to get this wrong. It's just not how, it's a walking contradiction. I struggle with that as well. Okay, so you had to come home, and what level of soul searching are we talking about? Just, I mean, I'm assuming you never left the faith. You never had a moment of going off and being like, all right, and then coming back. So what did that look like for you as far as how God made himself known to you? Like, were there friends who came alongside, or what elements of fellowship were present that got you through that chapter?
I moved in with a girl from IPC when I was going to IPC. She was a couple years younger than me, Grace.
Yeah.
And that's how I met Peter.
That's true.
I had to start over. While we're in Atlanta, or I just moved. But it's just interesting to see how God needed him to, first of all, get to Memphis, but also like things in his life that he needed to go through. But those 3 years for me were really, really hard. The being single when I was 24, 20, like there's the idea of, am I going to get married?
Yeah.
And so that was an idol for sure in my life. But I can remember being really mad and was like, if I'm not supposed to be married, like at least take the desire away.
Right. Yeah.
And that was my frustration, I guess, in that season.
I'm already praying for my daughter, who's 2 years old, my daughter's future husband, whoever he is, just because I'm that aware of like that's a huge factor in what will determine the rest of that person's life. So yeah, it makes sense that there'd be an element of, Lord, answer this request. Like, am I supposed to be married or not? Because that is, I mean, I remember being told there are the 3 M's in life that you were all trying to answer, and that's who is your maker, what is your mission, who is your mate? And God will answer those in different sequence each time. And so that there's a big one of like, who am I meant to minister in the world alongside? That's a noble thing.
I love in the story, like the dad doesn't even, before the younger son can finish his apology, and he's just getting wrapped up, and he's like, I'm ready to throw a party. He is
doesn't even let him get the words out.
No, more than ready to forgive. And Andrew Peterson's song that has that, and I'm not going to remember which song it is, but there is a song that is, I've Got News.
Okay.
And that's a really good song about it. But like the joy that he has. And when you do have kids, that excitement. And like how sad it is when one of my kids feels like the need to be sorry enough. And you're like, I promise I forgive you. And ready to move on.
And that it's not about the feeling sorry. It's just, I don't know. It's like, you're not feeling sorry just so I'm not mad at you. Yeah. Like, you're praying for your kids to have a heart that wants to, like, I've legitimately like pled to the Lord, like, change my affections. It's literally like the things I want to do that I'm like, it can't just be, I shouldn't do this because then you'll love me more. No, he can't love me more than he already loves me. Mm-hmm. And it's sort of the same thing for our kids. We're just like, no, this isn't about whether I love you or don't love you. This is just about what's right and what was beneficial for you to live by these laws, but not so that you earn my love. Like, you have it, and so therefore, not putting the cart in front of the horse. As you reflect on how God was at work through your parents, and you think to yourself, okay, how do I want to pass on that legacy of faith to my kids? What are ways that God sort of puts on your heart, okay, this is how I want to try and make this faith tangible for them, having grown up with that heritage.
A lot of it was a lot of listening. I can talk. I can talk.
I don't say nothing.
And, just the two of us being able to really listen in the car. And there weren't distractions. And, to open up and be a good listener as well.
So what kind of questions are the kids asking then?
What, my kids?
Yeah. You don't have to get personal about which one, but we'll know. But no, it's good.
Yeah, it won't take long. Asking about what?
It's about faith. Like, are they asking questions? Like, it's not faith related, but yesterday I was putting my ring on, and Abigail, who's 2.5, is like, "Why you wear a ring, Dad?" And I was like, "I want the world to know I'm married to your mommy." She goes, "Well, when I get married, I'll wear a ring." And I was like, "Whoa, you're a 2.5," So
it doesn't take long,
right? But like, at what juncture do they walk up to you and go, "Mommy, what's original sin?" Or like, I don't know, because you're a theologian, you fell asleep to R.C. Sproul, so. You're probably just ready. There's an app for that. Anyway.
Yeah, exactly. I have the Ligonier app.
Oh, it's great. I listen to it especially every Sunday morning. I failed this morning.
Don't listen to it.
No. I listened to it as I was getting ready, and then my wife came in with Abigail, and it like really frustrated me. I realized how selfish I was being as I'm listening to a sermon about not being selfish. And I'm like being confronted with, this is my routine. Why would you interrupt my routine? I'm about to go and lead in worship. And I realized I'm failing this test right now. That was bad. So anyway, but yes, kids it's the final nail in the coffin of death to self. It's just like, okay.
Oh, yeah, it's hard. They're nice. They're great little mirrors.
Yeah. And they're souls. That's the thing. It's not like owning a dog or a pet. It's like, no, there's an eternal consequence here. Like this is a being that has been formed before like time. The Lord
Right.
and the Lord through all of history said, all right, I have these little human beings and I want them to be fostered and grown by Peter and Karla, which is like no pressure,
I know, right? This morning, I started the conversation with Andy and just asked him, why will mommy go to heaven? Is that how I work? Basically, why does anybody allowed into heaven? I just wanted to see what his answer was and where it was. And he, kind of on the right track. Jesus died for my sins, which is huge.
Okay.
But that connection of like, well, a lot of people died on a cross. Like, why does it matter that Jesus did?
Yeah.
And it was an opportunity for me to show him and more explain. I mean, he was halfway paying attention, but
Let's say
with him, I have to be more intentional. And with Michelle, she reminds me a lot of myself, where it was a lot of head knowledge, knows the right answer. And I do believe that for her age, she understands the gospel appropriately. If that makes sense.
Yeah, no, she's.
But I think that I see a lot of me and her as far as like, oh, it's logical. You ask for forgiveness, you're forgiven, you do the right thing, and you're good.
And so then the prayer is, Lord, make the head knowledge into heart knowledge.
I'm changing my answer to that because that was me. She's not as much that way. That was me. She genuinely has a heart of compassion and wants to worship and serve the Lord. She writes music, talks about praying on her own, and
That's
so
great.
she is for sure like claiming her faith and her understanding is growing more independently from us, which is huge.
Absolutely. Well, and again, it's this notion of planting seeds. Again, ministry, whether it's ministering to your kids or in your church or ministry, at work. It's planting those seeds and trusting that God's word will not return void. So even when you say something to a kid and you're just like, you have no idea. I mean, like every time before we leave the house in the morning, if I'm there with Abigail, I'll say, all right, we're going to go be around people. What do we do with people? And she goes, we love people. Why do we love people? Because they're made in God's image.
Yeah.
And she had no idea what it, I mean, it doesn't, she'll walk out the door and immediately be a little diva and like, you're just like, okay, what did I just say? But again, it's about planting those seeds and saying, all right, Lord, like use this, that she'll be able to recognize the foundation that has been laid, so that when that faith comes alive, they have the tools to be able to process it and further develop it and deepen it.
One of my favorite things to do is to ask my kids what they learned about in Sunday school, because it will a lot of times just be like a botched combination of like two Bible stories or, something where the church is doing its role as best as they can, but it is going back at home, like you were talking about, and really having those discussions and seeing, I mean, you're the parent. That's your ultimate job, and
it goes back to what you said, even about the Bible study experience you had. It's like you can get real to a level around a group of people, but then it's not till you break off and go into smaller groups. It's like we have all these little home churches that gather together under one roof that make up this church, which is part of a larger church and a universal church and a church through the ages and all that. But then, absolutely, like the church is there to equip, but it's not. As soon as you walk out those doors, I mean, you're back in the trenches again. In some cases, you're in the trenches in the room. It does come down to what's taught in the home. Like if you think that 1 hour a week or even 2 hours is going to properly combat the myriad of false gospels that are being presented in every song, in every video, in every show, and every interaction, then it's not possible. So the work of a parent in being a daily counselor, ironically, but
I didn't want to work with kids, and I didn't want to be a stay-at-home mom. Those were my
and God
non-negotiables in my life. Like when I graduated, I was like, I don't know what to do, but I know I don't want to be a stay-at-home mom, and I know I don't want to work with kids. And I love being a stay-at-home mom, and I love working with my little 2- and 3-year-olds at PDO.
I told God I didn't want to be a church music director, so
it works out.
Again, you want to make God laugh, tell him your plans. Well, thank you for doing this. Before you head out, favorite Bible verse or book of the Bible?
Do not be anxious about anything, but in everything by prayer and supplication, present your requests to God.
Yeah.
And the God of all peace will comfort you.
Yeah.
That's my Bible. Okay. That's my favorite Bible verse. I can't even remember
God of all comfort, God of all peace. Yeah, okay. But no, the very first part, yeah. That's going to bug me now. Yeah, no, I forget the ending too. Wow, that's so funny. But yeah, do not be anxious. So even if you can't remember the end of the verse, just don't be anxious about it.
Don't be anxious.
Okay. Well, thank you very much. Obviously, you are an integral part of the church. Thank you for all that you've done to minister in the different areas. She just can't get enough of working with kids after she went and told people that she had no interest years ago.
I love them.
So
they're hilarious.
Oh, they're a hoot. We love you guys. We really appreciate you. Your kids are a right. I will say to your point, like it's really neat to see Michelle growing up into a young godly lady. That's really warms my heart. And I'll continue to pray for you guys as you continue to do some of the most important work, which is raising the next generation in the fear and admonition of the Lord. We're right there with you, although a few chapters behind. So I enjoy
we don't know what we're
commiserating with Peter.
And just I love our church, but also one aspect about it is that we're very open about I don't know what I'm doing.
Right.
That was one of the most comforting things about the church. So when Andy was moving out of the nursery and it was our first Sunday where he was required to stay in the service, I had a bad dream about him crawling underneath the pew. And I woke up and I was sweating, anxious. being like, I'm going to be judged. She's going to be so, noisy, and this is going to be awkward. And he did. Like, he crawled into the pew one Sunday, and like, I don't remember who it was, but looked over and just starts laughing and was like, oh, hey, Andy. So we're very welcoming.
It's okay to not be okay.
Very welcoming church, loving church, especially to our kids. And I love that.
Yeah. Well, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
May the Lord continue to bless you and your life and marriage, and selfishly happy that you're part of the family. And again, I'm very sorry for destroying your refrigerator. We all were on your honeymoon, and but I feel like I got your revenge. So thank you very much.
You're welcome.
So I wanted to invite you to come in and not just sort of get the dirt on what it's like living with my brother, which we actually have some of that in common, though in different ways.
You've got plenty of stories.
I do, yes. Oh, I remember the time. We might keep this. We'll see. We used to have a tradition of watching Gladiator as single men every Valentine's Day. And we'd have a bunch of people over, and he invited you and told me he was inviting you, and I was like, okay, I don't see the appeal.
He told you that he was inviting
me
to watch Gladiator.
Like, it's a whole evening. There's steak, it's a dinner, and but we had a bunch of guys over, and he was suddenly inviting a girl, and I was like, the girl from The Walking Dead, we do watch it with every Sunday night.
I knew he invited me over. I didn't realize it was.
This is apparently breaking news. He invited. He told me he was inviting you to the dinner / Gladiator viewing, which was designed for a bunch of single guys on Valentine's Day, just like we're gonna watch a manly man's movie and eat meat, and all of a sudden you're there, and then all of a sudden neither of you were there. So.
No, that was he had invited me over. It was a whole mix-up of like miscommunication. He asked me over for dinner, and I was happy to come. I didn't know about the Gladiator part, but I got to know John, because John...
Oh, that's what introduced you to John.
That is how we met. We would watch Walking Dead, and John lived with you guys, but I never got to know him. And then we were cooking steak, and he decided to come out and hang out and talk. Yeah.
And good for you for holding Peter's feet to the fire and being like, hey man, where is this going? You're not gonna invite me to a guy's event, and then, anyway. But we're glad you stuck around. Thank you very much. We appreciate it. Not the reason that you're here, because the point of although that was really fun to reminisce. So I assume there was a lot of conversation between you and Peter when y'all first got together, like talking doctrine or stuff.
No.
No?
No.
Peter. Okay, we'll talk. Anyway.
No, the first thing he did was ask me to show him my budget. And and I pulled it out for him. I showed him on my phone.
Oh man, I would still be single if Rachel had done that to me. Wow. Okay. Well, little brother, I guess priorities, like the pastor today said, is going to ooze out of you, whatever you believe. Anyway, so you were destined for a life of numbers. Anyway.
That was the hardest thing.
This handsome rogue walks through with his guitar.
Yes. And then my knight in shining armor.
Invites you over to watch Gladiator with a bunch of guys.
On Valentine's.
On Valentine's Day. That's the thing we probably should have included. It says on Valentine's Day. Yeah.
That was a very interesting start to our relationship. But then we started dating in February, got engaged in July, and you got to sing.
I did. Y'all are the reason that I got to know my wife. So.
That's right.
Yeah. So thank you.
I can talk forever. You know this.
Like I said, I have no comments. You're good.
A great talker.
It's really funny to me because both you and Peter are big talkers. That's what was so funny.
We just interrupt each other.
I know. I was like, that is not. Anyway, sorry. Peter and Terry, my brothers, like when we're at the family gatherings, so anyway, it's great. It's great. It's still funny to me that like you're also a talker. I would have assumed that he would eventually end up with someone, but it's great because he needs someone to go head to head with him. It's great.
You do it all the time.
Anyway, sorry, continue.
Apparently he wasn't sarcastic until or at least wasn't nearly as sarcastic.
We all have our stories, and we were raised in a home where you were disciplined if you were sarcastic, because our parents instructed us that, well, sarcasm is just an excuse to say the hurtful thing and get away with it. So anyway.
Whoops.
So no, we had to learn sarcasm through years of training. The downside of doing this with family is that there's a lot more to talk about than just your testimony.
That's true.